students, today we're going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter evolution, and today in this video we will cover part 3. So let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 2007. One of the important consequences of geographical isolation is dash. Okay, what will happen? I mean, we're talking about geographical isolation. What will the consequences that we will face? Prevent speciation through reproductive isolation, random creation of new species. So what will be the consequence if you see speciation through reproductive isolation? Speciation takes place via reproductive isolation, which is the most important consequence of geographical isolation. Therefore, the right answer is option B. Next question here. Which one of the following amino acid was not found to be synthesized in Miller's experiment? Okay, we're given 4 options here. Before that, let's discuss what is this Miller experiment. Do you have any idea what is this Miller experiment is? Actually, you call it as Miller and Urey experiment. Okay, Miller-Urey experiment was a chemical experiment, okay, that stimulated the conditions thought at the time to be present on the early Earth and tested the chemical origin of life under those conditions. The experiment at the time supported Alexander Oprena and the others as well. So you can ask me, what did this experiment show? In 1950s, biochemist, so we have 2 persons here. Who are the 2 people here? We have Stanley Miller and Harold Urey. Okay, conducted an experiment which demonstrated that several organic compounds could be formed spontaneously by stimulating the conditions of Earth's early atmosphere. So the one which was not found to be synthesized in Miller's experiment is glutamic acid, which is option B. Glutamic acid is one of the non-essential amino acids closely related to glutamine. The two constitute a substantial fraction of the amino acid in many proteins. So you have 10 to 20% in many cases and up to 45% in some plant proteins. An important metabolic intermediate as well as a neurotransmitter molecule in the central nervous system. Glutamic acid find uses in medicine biochemical research. So the one which is not synthesized in the Miller-Urey experiment is option B, glutamic acid. Next question here. Evolutionary history. Okay, evolutionary history of an organism is known as dash. Very easy question, right? What is it termed as? This is a very easy question for you. When we study about evolutionary history, we call that as phylogeny, right? Paleontology is the study of fossils, while ontogeny is the process of development of organisms in the embryo stage, and phylogeny is known as the history of an organism through the ages during evolution. Therefore, the right answer is option D, phylogeny. So what is phylogenetic tree used for? A phylogenetic tree or an evolutionary tree is a branching diagram or a tree showing the inferred evolutionary relationships among various biological species or other entities. Their phylogeny based upon the similarities, and it can be the differences in their physical or it can be genetic characteristics. The taxa joined together in the tree are implied to have descended from a common ancestor. Very important point to be noted here. Phylogenetic trees are the central to the field of phylogenism. A phylogenetic tree is used to represent the evolutionary relationship between an organism that are believed to have some common ancestry. So the name dendrogram is a broad term for the tree. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option D. Next question here. An important evidence in the favor of organic evolution is the occurrence of dash, and this question was asked in the year 2006. Okay, so we know it is homologous, but is it homologous and analogous or homologous and vestigial? We have to talk about that. Homologous organs represent what do they represent? They represent divergent evolution. What do they represent? Divergent evolution. Okay, these are the organs belonging to different organisms of different species, maybe for dissimilar function, but they all have the same basic structure. On the other hand, vestigial organs show that how species evolved from its ancestors through the ages according to the use and the let me give you an example here. Let's take any living organism. They have various parts in their body. right from a microorganism to the highest living organism, man. So it's not necessarily that we use every part. Sometimes, without the usage of a part, the part gets vanished. They get diminished in the day by life, right? So tail, if you see for man, there was tail if you look back to the evolution, you will see man having tail. But later on, that tail was not necessary for man. As years went by, it automatically diminished, and there's a lot of changes that you find here. So this is what they're trying to tell here. So an important evidence in favor of organic evolution is homologous and vestigial organs. Okay, organs. These are the organs which sometimes be functional in humans, but during the course of evolution, the ability gradually decline and they are not present now. So that's what is very important here. Next question here. Animals have the innate ability to escape from predation. Examples for the same are given below. Select the incorrect example. Color change in chameleon? Yes, that is actually to escape from predation. Enlargement of the body size by swallowing air in pufferfish? That is also an escape from power. Poison fangs in the snake and melanism in moth. Animals resist predation, okay? And it's the way to escape from predation also. So the color change, behavioral defense, and all these are examples. Enlargement of the body size, all these are examples of escaping from predation. The one which is incorrect, if you see, it's the poison fangs of the snake. Okay? The rest of them are correct. The one which is incorrect is poison fangs in snake. It's not just to escape from predation. It is also used to predate. I mean, to take, if it is going to attack someone, it of course uses its poison. So it is not an escapism. Okay, therefore the one which is incorrect is option C. Next question here. Which one of the following experiments suggests that the simplest living organisms could have originated spontaneously from non-living matter? And this question was asked in the year 2005. Okay, fine, we have to analyze the statement here. Larvae could appear in decaying organic matter. Okay. Microbes do not appear in stored meat. Microbes appeared from unsterilized organic matter. Meat was not spoiled when heated and kept sealed in the vessel. See, if you look clearly here, the first option is right, the second one is right, the third one is right, the fourth one, if you see, meat was not spoiled, it seems. How can it be without be spoiling? Spalzian experiment, he boiled the meat and vegetables for more than an hour to prepare broth and placed them in an open and sealed flask. There were maggots there. The maggots in the housefly developed in an open flask but did not appear in the sealed flask. So this disapproved the theory of spontaneous creation. So which one of the following experiments suggests that simplest living organisms could not have originated spontaneously from non-living matter? So option D is the right answer. Okay, next question here. Which one of the following phenomena supports Darwin's concept of natural selection in organic evolution? Okay, fine. When DDT, okay, was sprayed to kill mosquitoes, there were only few mosquitoes which were already resistant to DDT and hence survived. Most of the mosquitoes were sensitive to DDT and they died. Due to the differential reproduction, the resistant mosquitoes got more chances of reproduction and multiplied. After few generations, most of the mosquitoes were resistant. The sensitive were very few, and this supports the Darwin's theory of natural selection and survival of the fittest. So you must have heard about this theory, survival of the fittest. If you have 10 members, let's take an example, you have 10 members and there's some kind of disease that's going to come and it's already come there. So the one who is survived, the one who is fit, the one who is good, healthy will survive that condition. The other cannot survive. It will perish. So that is what is here that they are talking about. So they took an instance about mosquitoes. They had mosquitoes which were resistant to DDT and one which was vulnerable to DDT. So the one which was vulnerable to DDT obviously died. The one which was resistant started reproducing and a population with more resistance started to be created. The ones which were not resistant became very less. So here, if you clearly see, it talks about the Darwin's concept of natural selection and also the survival of the fittest. So it talks about prevalence of the pesticide resistant insects. Okay, next question. Using imprints from the plate with complete medium and carrying bacterial colonies, you can select streptomycin resistant mutants and prove that such mutations do not originate as adaptation. These imprints, okay, need to be used where? And this question was asked in the year 2005. So we're talking about, what are we talking about? What are we discussing about? We are discussing about adaptation, right? Adaptation is generally due to the selection of pre-existing variations and not due to the new mutations of variations. This tends to support the Darwin theory of natural selection. The basis was proved by replicating experiment of Joshua, and you have Esther Lederberg. A number of sterile agar plates having antibiotic streptomycin were prepared. Bacteria was inoculated on the plates with the from the master plate by the sterile velvet plate. Most bacterial colonies did not form replicas and inoculum died. Moreover, few colonies survived, showing that they were resistant to streptomycin. So what are they actually doing? These imprints needs to be used only on the plates with streptomycin. When you seem to mix it, you will obviously not get the result. Therefore, the right answer is option C. Next question here. Presence of gills in the tadpole of frog indicates dash. Very easy question. You must know what the answer is by now. Amphibians, they can survive in water as well as land. They have moved from a terrestrial habitat, but they still need to go back to water for reproduction. The presence of gills in the tadpole indicates the amphibians have evolved from the fishes. So frogs evolved from gilled ancestors. They can survive in both, but still they are dependent on both. Right? That's what they're trying to say here. Okay, next question. Age of fossils in the past was generally determined by radiocarbon method and other methods involving radioactive elements found in the rocks. More precise methods which were used recently and led to the revision of the evolutionary periods for different groups of organisms include dash. And this question was asked in the year 2004, a very big question in fact. So you can discuss about this. The right answer to this question is option C. Don't mind, I think the option just came as soon as the explanation. So ESR stands for electron. What does it stand for? It stands for electron spin resonance measures. Number the charges occupying the deep tracks in crystal band gap. So what is EPR then? Electron paramagnetic resonance. ESR is electron spin resonance. So it's a spectroscopic technique which detects a species that have unpaired electrons. So what does it mean actually? That the molecule in the question is a free radical. If it is an organic molecule, or it has a transition metal of ions, if it is an inorganic complex. So because most of the stable molecules have a closed shell configuration without a suitable unpaired spin, the technique is less widely used than a nuclear magnetic resonance. So it is an electron spin resonance and it's a fossil DNA, which is option C. Next question here. According to Imprints, which one of the following was not present in the primitive atmosphere of the Earth? You'll be surprised if you know the answer. We did not have oxygen. According to Imprints, the atmosphere of primitive Earth was reducing because the atoms were most numerous and most reactive. Free oxygen was not present in the significant amount. Okay, so you found actually large quantities of hydrogen. You found hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide. You had methane, then you had ammonia. All these were present in high amount when compared to oxygen. Next question here. Diversification in plant life appeared, and this question was asked in the year 2004. So just remember these things here. According to the Darwin, gradual accumulation of small variations give rise to new species. Abrupt mutations do not give rise to new species. Plant arose by gradual adaptation to diverse habitats and not suddenly on Earth. Therefore, the seeded plants are just one group in the plant kingdom. So now you should understand what the answer is. Diversification in the plant life appeared due to the long periods of evolutionary changes. Okay, Next question here. In recent years, DNA sequences of empty DNA and Y chromosomes were considered for the study of human evolution because. Why? The answer to this question is option C. They are uniparental in origin and do not take part in recombination. So if you can see the evolution part of humans, look at the way he has evolved. You can see the changes gradually happening. A bent atmosphere, slowly the body posture getting erected, and you even see a lot of changes in the skull, right? So all this is called as human evolution. Okay, next question here. Yeah, so this is called as human evolution. I just want to end up here. So these are very important aspects that you have to see. And another thing to be noted here before I could wind up, another thing to be noted here is I spoke about this in this part where I said there are parts in the body which are not used by us, and when they are not used and as generations go by, they slowly diminish in size and they vanish. That is true. Likewise, if you see in this part of, in this picture clearly shows you that we are all, we all believe that we have arose from apes, but there's a tremendous change by now that we are experiencing. So that is what is called as human evolution. Okay, so with this we complete this part of evolution. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter with another set of questions. Thank you.